Hi there, my name is Drew Bennett from BennettPortraits.com. Today we are going to be in Photoshop. Took a portrait session this last week, and today we're going to take it into Photoshop. I'll show you the process from the beginning image all the way to the finished one. You're going to follow along, and I know there's lots of different ways to do this, so you can just see how I choose to do it. Alright, hope you enjoy.
We have our picture that we have taken about a week ago. This was a portrait session. There are a couple of elements in here that we need to look at. This was a picture taken on a Nikon D3100. It was shot in RAW, and we have used Adobe's RAW DNG converter to get our DNG that we have right here. This image was taken with Abby. Great. She was a great model. And she's got really good skin, although I think we can make it a little better. I'll show you what we're going to do with that. It was taken outdoor. There was some fill flash here. This has already been brought in with RAW and done a few adjustments there to get it here. But all we've done is mess with the import settings with RAW so far. This image does include a leg of a tripod that we're going to have to get rid of, and it also, you can see here, it's just a little bit red. We are going to take it from here. I think that the first thing to do is get rid of these three distracting elements here. I'm going to zoom in to this part. What we're going to do quite easily is select our healing brush tool, select a source, draw some grass over the other grass. I find this stick right here to be a little distracting. We're going to take care of that. And here we have the leg of the tripod. So maybe just a little bit of shadow. Same principle we used for the stick, works really well here. And they're gone. Okay, great. Let's zoom back out. Next thing to worry about here, I like to do the tone of the image first before we do any retouching. So let us start with that. First thing we're going to do is we are going to create a brightness contrast layer. These values aren't defined. It's definitely, each image is just a little different. Because we did shoot this in RAW, this is very, very close to how we want it to look. I did do a few minor adjustments here, but the RAW converter is really good about you've got the option to adjust your exposure as needed. If we go any more than this, you saw, if we go any more than this, it starts affecting the skin and creating those highlights there. Okay, now we have this. Second thing I typically do is hue saturation adjustment layer. This is where we can mess with those reds. I think those skin tones are redder than they need to be. First thing let's do is let's bring the saturation of the entire image down just ever so slightly. Next we'll switch to the reds channel and bring that down as well. Very nice. Okay. Let's go back and look at the before there and the after. Okay. Let's create a duplicate layer here. And I rename that just to keep track of myself. The very first thing I'm going to do is we're going to sharpen this image. Enhance, unsharp mask. This will depend on the image as well. I do like the radius of 1.5 just because I feel that's about right. Radius is how many surrounding pixels get sharpened when each pixel gets sharpened. So what I do is I typically leave these values about the same, and I just adjust the amount. Less amount versus more. You can go too far, it gets ridiculous. And 0 leaves a very soft image. We want to find our value right in the middle that gives some additional sharpness to the image without getting unrealistic. I feel right about there. Looks amazing. Okay. So now we have the colors we like, and we have a sharp image. Next thing we're going to do, we'll go to the face. Healing brush tool again, same one we used for to remove the tripod and a couple of leaves. We'll pick a source of skin that is good, clear of any blemishes, and we'll remove the ones we do find. Everyone has something on their skin. I have yet to take a picture to where someone has nothing that needs smoothed out on their skin. The healing brush is fantastic. I remember, was it Photoshop 7 where that was introduced? I remember before that just how completely a different process retouching was. Photoshop 7 came out and introduced the healing brush and completely changed the game. Made it so much more time efficient to work on a face. You see, I keep changing my source selection because as you're going around, the skin tones change dramatically. From this skin here is so completely different than this lighter skin here. I like to keep a similar tone to what I'm doing. Now sometimes it's hard to remember if you don't edit an image fairly soon after you take it. Sometimes it is difficult to remember exactly what should be there. This right here is not a pimple. What you don't want to do is remove someone's actual features, whether that be a mole, they've got a scar. Unless specifically requested, I tend to like to leave those items there. What I do remove are temporary. You have blemishes that come and go, and that's fine. I like to smooth those out and remove those. Here we have freckles, leaving those because those are permanent items, freckles. If you have some pimples on your face the day of the photo shoot, I feel like that's a completely different animal than permanent structures. The freckles here we'll leave and just remove any red spots, any pimples we see. So now we've got all the big work done. We now have all of the major items removed, and what we're going to do next is we're going to do a smoothing of the skin. What I like to do is we need to select out just the skin portions. I'm right here, I'm using Photoshop Elements 8, which layer masking does get a little difficult in that. So what I do instead is I create a layer just of the skin that I want. What I will do is start selecting out those items that I do just want. By holding down Shift, I can add items. By holding down Control, I can remove items from my selection. I do not want this tuft of hair there, but I missed just a little bit. I am using a Wacom tablet. I find they're the best way to manipulate photos. It feels like using a pen and a paper instead of a mouse. I feel a mouse is very clunky. It's very imprecise. Drawing with a pen, we were all taught that as growing up, how to draw with a pen, and I feel that it is the best way to go. What I'm gonna do, the bridge of the nose, edge of the nose, the mouth, eyes, eyebrows do not belong in this selection. These items we do want to keep crisp, and we're going to apply a blur to other portions of the face. And I don't want those items in that blur. I want, you can trick the eyes. A blur on the face gives such smooth skin, the appearance of very smooth skin. However, if you smooth the entire skin, what happens is the image just looks blurry. It no longer looks like perfect skin, and instead it looks like a blurry image. So what I do is you can trick your eye. If you leave the portions of the face that you do want sharp, just like I selected here, the eyebrows, eyes, parts of the nose, and the mouth, leaving those out of the selection will create the optical illusion of the entire skin remaining sharp. So what I've done is I've made my selection. I'm happy with that. I'm going to right click here, and I'm going to make a new layer with that selection. So I'm doing layer via copy here, and now if you see, if I hide those other images, we literally just have skin left. Okay, all the non-skin portions are here, and I really should have, let's do this, let's add this here. As I'm working, I tend to work very close up. What I do, that can create some problems, like it just did for me. I forgot about a portion of the image. So what I like to do is I like to zoom out and take a look at the entire image from time to time, and that will help you catch any of your problems. So I've gone back, and I've redone this now, and it includes that skin from the foot that was visible. Okay. Now we've got a layer that is just skin. We're going to apply a blur to that. We're going to filter, blur, and we're going to smart blur. Okay. Now that's going to be, there we go. I want to be able to see what I'm working with here. Alright, so now we've got a picture of it. This is the before, and as you hold and as you release, that's the after. I'm going to bring this threshold down to about 10, but I'm going to bring the radius up to about 5. Okay. We've got a very nice start, and we're going to apply that. This will take just a second. Okay. We have added some blur to the face. You can see the before by hiding that layer and the after right here. We're going to do one more step. We're going to add a Gaussian blur. So we go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur. And with this last one, I'm going to add about 2 pixels. Every image will be a little different. This one I like 2 pixels here, so we're going to apply that. Now feel free to change those values. Each image, each skin, I've even noticed that one of the big selections depends on how full in the frame the face was. If you are taking a close-up, you're going to use different values for this blur than if you were taking a full-length shot like this one is. In this one, you will need more blurring than you would have if this was the entire frame. Now this looks a little fake, this looks a little plastic. That's normal. What we do here is we go to our layer. There's our before and there's our after. So this is our layer with the blurs on it. We're going to change the opacity of this layer down, and we're going to let some of the original face come back through. So now what we've done is we've created a more realistic but smooth skin look. That looks very nice. Okay, here's our final image here. This is uncropped. This is the D3100. This is the full frame here. We can go to our crops tool. And we'll create our final crop. Apply that crop. And there's our finished image. Basically what we've done is, what I like to do is, the first step I do is I start with any color adjustments I want. Brightness, contrast, and hue, saturation, layer adjustments. The second thing I do is typically remove any distraction. We found a few elements that we felt distracted from the image. We had a twig and the base of a tripod in this particular image that we removed using the healing brush tool. Second, I do a rough of any blemishes. That's using the healing brush tool on all of those spots, on all of those blemishes we want removed. And then we do a general smoothing of the skin using Smart Blur and Gaussian Blur. Those, I have applied those filters to a layer of just skin here. Then all we have left to do is crop it what your final product is. You have different crops for different image sizes you're trying to produce, or if it's intended for the web versus a print, those can be different resolutions, those can be different image sizes. And then I just flatten the layer like I just did. That's how I retouch an image. We have our final image right here. And I know there's several different ways to do this. I hope you enjoyed the way I choose to. Thank you.